The world is running out of space, but in Mongolia, space is the one thing they have too much of. This is the Empty Empire, a land of 30 million horses and only 3 million people. But don't let the silence fool you. What many overlook is that this massive landscape hides secrets that defy logic. We're talking about a gorge of solid ice in the heart of a scorching desert. We're talking about the planet's last truly wild horses. This is a journey to the most breathtaking places on Earth, and it starts right now. There are statues of leaders all over the world. Many are carved from stone, others cast in bronze, sitting patiently in city squares or on mountaintops. But then there is this. You drive for about an hour east from Mongolia's capital, Ulaanbaatar, and the city's concrete sprawl gives way to the real Mongolia. It's a landscape that redefines the word open. It's an ocean of grass, stretching to a horizon so far away it curves with the earth, all under a dome of brilliant, endless blue sky. The air smells of dust, wild thyme, and the sharp, grassy scent of the steppe. And then you see it. At first, it's just a flash of light, a flicker on the horizon that doesn't make sense. As you get closer, it takes shape. It's a man on a horse, and he is, to put it mildly, colossal. This is the Genghis Khan statue complex. The figure of the conqueror himself is 131 feet tall, taller than the copper figure of the Statue of Liberty. He's made of 250 tons of gleaming, glittering stainless steel, and he is Genghis Khan, the man who, in the 13th century, forged a scattered group of nomadic tribes into an army that built the largest contiguous land empire in human history. This isn't just a statue, it's a profound statement of national identity. After decades of Soviet rule, where his name was practically forbidden, Mongolia is now reclaiming its founder. The statue sits on top of a 10-meter-tall circular building, a visitor center designed to look like a European Gothic building, which is a curious choice, but it serves as the pedestal. What's truly astonishing is what you can do here. For a small fee, you can enter the building, which houses a museum, a restaurant, and a souvenir shop. You can see a giant 9-foot-long leather boot, a replica of what a warrior from that time might have worn. The sheer scale of it makes you realize how mythical these figures have become. But the main event is the elevator. You take it up through the body of the horse. It opens onto a small platform on the horse's head, right between its ears and just below Genghis's chin. You are standing face to face with the conqueror himself. The wind up here is relentless. It's not a gentle breeze, it's a powerful, constant force, the same wind that his hordes rode against. From this height, the emptiness of Mongolia unfolds in every direction. You can see the Tool River snaking through the green-brown valley. You can see tiny white gurs, the traditional felt tents of the nomads, miles away. The statue itself is pointed east toward his birthplace in the Khenti province. The entire complex is a modern marvel. Built in 2008, it's not just a monument to the past, but a symbol of Mongolia's future. On the grounds, you'll find smaller statues of his warriors. For a few extra dollars, about 10,000 tugrik, which is only $3 or $4 US, you can walk over to a nearby area and try your hand at archery from horseback. To get a tiny feel for the skills that conquered a quarter of the world. This colossal steel guardian is the perfect introduction to Mongolia, a land of shocking scale and deep, complicated history. But this modern marvel is just an echo of a much older, more sacred place. Welcome to the Orkhon Valley. When you hear the word valley, you probably picture a narrow strip of land between two sharp mountain ranges. You need to erase that image. The Orkhon Valley is a vast, sprawling landscape of rolling green hills, lush pastures, and the winding path of the Orkhon River. It is so central to the story of Central Asia, so critical to human history, that it's protected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. To put it mildly, this is the birthplace of empires. For thousands of years, there was an unwritten rule on the steppe. Whoever controlled the Orkhon Valley controlled the steppe. This was the headquarters for one great nomadic power after another. The Xiongnu, the powerful confederation that forced China to build its Great Wall, had their center here. They were followed by the Gokturks, who carved their history into standing stones, and then the Uyghur Khaganate. And then, in the 13th century, Genghis Khan's son, Ogedai, decided to do something no nomad had ever done before. He decided to build a permanent stone capital. He built the legendary city of Karakoram right here. Imagine it. In the year 1235, a walled city rising from the middle of the empty grassland. It was a cosmopolitan global center. The famous traveler William of Rubruck, a Flemish monk, visited in 1254 and was stunned by what he found. He described a city filled with people from all over the world: French jewelers, Chinese silk merchants, Hungarian miners, and Persian scholars, all living and working at the center of the world's biggest empire. He described a magnificent silver tree in the Great Hall of the palace, an elaborate fountain designed by a Parisian goldsmith, which at the press of a button would dispense 4 different drinks from its branches: wine, rice wine, honey mead, and arag, the traditional Mongolian drink of fermented horse milk. But today, it's gone. When the empire crumbled in the 14th century, the city was torn down, its glorious palaces and temples razed. Its stones were carried away. All that's left of the capital of the world is a vast, empty field. The only markers are 4 massive stone turtles, which once marked the city's official boundaries, now sitting alone in the grass. The empire's capital is now just a ghost, a memory in the wind. Getting here is a true adventure. It's a long, punishing, bumpy drive from the capital, Ulaanbaatar. You'll need a serious 4x4 vehicle. Most tours use the Toyota Land Cruiser or the classic bone-rattling Russian-made UAZ van. This van is a legend. It's uncomfortable, it breaks down, but it's so simple that any nomadic herder can fix it with a wrench and some wire. There are no paved roads, just endless crisscrossing dirt tracks. You'll stay in jur camps, which are traditional felt tents set up for travelers. A stay in a jur can cost as little as $10 to $15 a night. It's basic. You'll sleep on a simple cot with a wood-burning stove in the center that the host family will come in and light for you in the middle of the cold night. The hospitality is incredible. You'll be offered salty milk tea and hard-dried cheese curds called arul. You'll sleep under a blanket of stars so bright it looks fake, in a silence so deep it feels like you're the only person on Earth. This valley isn't just empty fields and ghosts, though. It's a landscape that erupts in sudden, dramatic beauty. And in the middle of this endless grass, the ground suddenly splits open. You can hear it before you see it. After driving for hours across the gentle, rolling steppe of the Orkhon Valley, a low, constant thunder seems completely out of place. There are no storms, there are no plains. It's the sound of rushing water. Then the world just drops away. This is the Ulan-Tsutgalan waterfall, often just called the Orkhon waterfall. It's a breathtaking 65-foot plunge of white water crashing into a deep, dark canyon. The river here is wide and powerful, and it narrows into this single chute, making the force of the water incredible. The thing nobody tells you is how it was made. This feature wasn't slowly carved over millions of years like the Grand Canyon. It was born from pure, sudden violence. About 20,000 years ago, a nearby volcano, the Corgo, erupted. It flooded this entire part of the valley with thick, black lava. The Orkhon River, its ancient path blocked by this new wall of volcanic rock, was forced to carve a new path. It gouged out this canyon, and the waterfall was born. It's a genuine shock to the system. One minute you're in a sea of green grass, surrounded by grazing yaks. The next you're standing on the precipice of a dramatic rocky gorge. The mist from the waterfall rises up, and you can smell the wet stone and the clean, cold water. The waterfall itself is most powerful in the spring and early summer, after the snows melt or a heavy rain. In fact, if you come during a dry spell, it can be reduced to a trickle. But in the winter, it becomes a different kind of marvel. It freezes solid, creating a massive glittering wall of blue-white ice, a favorite spot for ice climbers. For travelers, this is a prime destination. You can hike right down into the canyon, carefully scrambling over the slick black rocks to stand at the base, feeling the spray on your face. Local nomadic families set up their jers near the canyon rim during the summer, offering visitors a place to stay and a chance to ride their horses. Imagine galloping on a hardy Mongolian horse, the wind in your hair, with this thunderous waterfall as your backdrop. The nearby Jer camps are perfectly placed to give you amazing views. You can eat a hearty meal of mutton soup called guril taishul, filled with thick noodles and vegetables, and then walk just a few hundred feet to see this natural wonder. It's a powerful reminder that this empty land is full of sudden, forceful surprises. They aren't just made by nature, they were also carved by people long, long ago. And some of these carvings contain warnings that are still chilling today. Long before Genghis Khan, another great power ruled this land. They were a people who came out of the north, and they called themselves the Gökturks. They created the Turkic Khaganate, a massive empire that stretched from the Black Sea to Manchuria, and their heartland was right here, in the Orkhon Valley. At a site called Koshut Saidam, they left behind their stories, carved in stone. These aren't just gravestones, they are the earliest known writings of any Turkic language, dating back to the early 700s. They are the Orkhon inscriptions. The two most important monuments are for a prince named Kultegin and his brother, the Emperor Bilge Khan. These are massive stone slabs, or stelae, over 10 feet tall, covered in over 10,000 hand-carved letters in a special script called Orkhon runes. This script looks a bit like the runes of the Vikings, but it's a completely unique alphabet, and for centuries, no one could read it. When scholars finally deciphered it in the late 1800s, it opened a window into a lost empire. And the story they tell is epic. They describe the founding of the Turkic Empire, the glory of their battles, and the sacred nature of this very valley. They talk about their belief in the sky god Tengri who ruled from above, but what's truly chilling is the tone. Bilge Khan's inscription is a direct personal warning to his people. He warns them from beyond the grave not to trust their powerful neighbors, the Tang dynasty in China. He says they use soft words and rich treasures to trick, divide, and conquer the steppe nomads. To put it mildly, it's a piece of political advice that's still fiercely relevant 1,300 years later. It's a voice from the deep past, speaking of power, betrayal, and the struggle for survival. Today, there's a beautiful modern museum built right next to the site, funded by the Turkish government. It was built in 2010 to protect the priceless original stones from the harsh elements. Inside, you can see the stelae, along with a treasure trove of artifacts found in their tombs. Golden crowns, intricate jewelry, and statues of kneeling servants. This site became part of the Orkhon Valley UNESCO Heritage in 1996. But what's truly special is standing in the field outside, looking at the replicas that now stand exactly where the originals did. You can touch the deep-cut runes, feeling the story of a lost empire, surrounded by the same wind and the same endless sky they wrote about. The valley's history didn't end with the Turks. The next great city built here, Karakorum, would be destroyed, but its rubble would be used to create Mongolia's most important spiritual center. A fortress of faith was built directly from the rubble of a fallen capital. This is Erdin-Zu Monastery, and it is a miracle. After the fall of the Mongol Empire in the 14th century, the grand capital of Karakorum was leveled. Its glorious palaces, mosques, and temples were nothing but a pile of stone and a sad memory. For 2 centuries, the site lay in ruins. Then, in 1586, a Mongol lord named Altai Khan decided to build something new from that rubble. He had met with the 3rd Dalai Lama and converted to Tibetan Buddhism, and he wanted to build a center for this new faith. So he built Erdene-zu, the Jewel Temple, the first and largest Buddhist monastery in Mongolia. and he built it using the stones of the fallen capital. But he didn't just build a temple, he built a fortress. Surrounding the entire complex is a massive square wall, nearly a quarter-mile long on each side. It is an imposing, powerful-looking structure. And set into this brilliant white wall are 108 pristine white stupas, or dome-shaped shrines. 108 is a profoundly sacred number in Buddhism, representing the 108 human sins or defilements. This wall was a spiritual shield, protecting the holy ground within. In its prime, Erdin was a city in itself. It was a staggering complex. It had over 60 temples decorated with gold. And at one point, more than 1,000 monks lived, prayed, and studied here. It was the undisputed spiritual heart of the nation for centuries. Then, in the 1930s, came the darkness. During the political purges under the new communist government, religion was targeted as an opiate of the people. The monastery was targeted. Hundreds of monks were rounded up and taken away, many never to be seen again. The entire complex, except for the outer wall and 3 small strategic temples, was systematically demolished. It was a cultural tragedy, an attempt to erase the nation's soul. What you see today is a ghost of what it was, but it's a powerful one. The 3 small temples that survived were spared and turned into a museum. Today, you can walk inside and see priceless treasures that were hidden from the destruction. Incredible golden statues of Buddhist deities. Intricate thangka paintings on silk, and fearsome, colorful masks that were used in sacred Sam dances. But the thing nobody tells you is that Erdin is also an active monastery again. After the fall of communism in 1990, monks returned. Today, you can stand in the main courtyard and hear the deep, resonant chanting of the monks in the morning, the sound of long horns and cymbals echoing off the ancient walls. It's a place of deep sadness, but also of incredible resilience. But not all of Mongolia's spiritual centers were so lucky. Further south, another great monastery lies in ruins. A tragic monument to what was lost. Its broken walls now serve as a chilling sentinel in the wind. This is Ongi Monastery, and it is a scar on the face of Mongolia. It's not a place of worship anymore, it's a place of memory, a vast open-air graveyard for a way of life. Located in the immense semi-desert steppe of the Middle Gobi, Ongi was once one of the largest and most important monastic centers in the entire country. It wasn't just one monastery, but 2, a northern and a southern complex built on opposite banks of the Ongi River. At its peak in the 19th century, it was a sprawling city of faith with over 30 temples and 4 separate Buddhist universities. More than 1,000 monks studied philosophy, medicine, and mathematics here, their chants echoing across the rocky red earth hills. It was a beacon of knowledge and spirituality in the remote desert. Then came 1937. The same political purges that damaged Erdin completely annihilated Ongi. It was seen as a center of resistance and old thinking. The army arrived. The entire complex was dynamited. Its temples were reduced to rubble. Its monks, over 200 of them, were either forced to renounce their faith, sent to labor camps, or simply vanished, their fates unknown. The river itself, once the monastery's lifeblood, has since shrunk to a fraction of its size, a sad trickle through the ruins. What's left today is, to put it mildly, haunting. It's a vast field of ruins. You walk through piles of broken bricks, past the crumbling foundations of great halls where hundreds once gathered. You see shattered religious carvings, pieces of blue and green tiles, and bits of pottery half buried in the dust. The only sound is the relentless wind whistling through the broken walls. It's an open-air testament to a dark chapter in the nation's history. There's a small museum in a Ajur near the site run by a local family that displays old photos of what the monastery used to look like. The contrast is heartbreaking, but there is a small spark of hope. A handful of monks have returned. They have built one small, new, beautifully painted temple among the ruins, a tiny, defiant speck of life in a place defined by its absence. For travelers, staying here is a profound experience. You can stay in a Ajur camp on the hill overlooking the ruins. As the sun sets, the red rocks glow and the wind sounds almost like a whisper. It's a deeply sad, deeply moving place. A necessary stop to understand the country's modern history. From this story of human tragedy, we move to a story of natural survival. A creature that was literally brought back from the brink of oblivion. It's the only animal of its kind, and it had completely vanished from the earth. This is the Przewalski's horse, and it is the last truly wild horse on the planet. Let's be very clear, this is not a feral horse like an American Mustang, which is a domestic horse that got loose. This is a creature that has never been tamed by humans. Genetically, it's different. It has 66 chromosomes, while domestic horses have 64. It's stocky, it's tough, with a sandy-colored coat, a dark stripe down its back, and a unique bristly mane that stands straight up. In Mongolia, it's known as the taki, or spirit, and by the 1960s it was gone. Decades of harsh winters, competition with livestock for scarce grass, and hunting had wiped them out. The taki was declared extinct in the wild. Its spirit, it seemed, was broken. But what many overlooked was that a few dozen were still alive in zoos and private collections around the world. All descended from a tiny founder population captured in the early 1900s. In the 1990s, an ambitious and desperate international project began. They decided to bring the spirit back. They carefully selected horses from these captive populations in Europe and Australia and flew them in giant crates back to the steppe of Mongolia. They were released into Hustai National Park, not far from Ulaanbaatar. It was a massive gamble. Would these zoo-raised horses remember how to be wild? Could they survive the brutal Mongolian winters, with temperatures dropping to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit? Could they defend themselves from wolves? The answer, incredibly, was yes. Today, the project is one of the greatest conservation success stories in history. From that small handful of reintroduced horses, a thriving, healthy population of several hundred now roams free in Hustai. They live in harem groups. A dominant stallion protecting his mares and foals, and have relearned all their ancient survival instincts. For a tourist, this is an almost guaranteed wildlife sighting. You drive into the park, which is a beautiful landscape of rolling hills and birch forests in the late afternoon. Your guide will know where to look. You'll stop the jeep, get out your binoculars and see them, grazing on the hillsides, their dusty coats blending into the grass. It's a powerful, primal sight. The park has a small information center and a deer camp for visitors. You're not just seeing an animal, you're seeing a resurrection. You're seeing a piece of the ancient, untamed steppe brought back from the brink. From this living, breathing miracle, we move to a wonder made of stone, a natural sculpture that has guarded this land for centuries. It's a giant stone animal watching over a valley of secrets. In Gobi Desert National Park, just a short, easy drive from the capital, the landscape changes dramatically. The flat, open steppe gives way to a stunning valley filled with pine-covered mountains, clear rivers, and massive, weather-worn granite formations. These rock formations are scattered everywhere, rising from the grassy valleys and forested hillsides like ancient sleeping giants. But one, in particular, stops everyone in their tracks. It's called Melki Card, or Turtle Rock. And it looks exactly like a giant turtle, its head pointing east, as if it's slowly, patiently crawling toward the rising sun. This thing is colossal, over 79 feet tall. It's not a carving, it's a complete accident of nature, a geological formation sculpted by millions of years of wind, rain, and ice eroding the softer rock around it. In Mongolian culture, the turtle is a powerful and sacred symbol. It represents eternity, strength, and stability. You'll see smaller stone turtles marking the boundaries of ancient sites, like the four that guard the ghost city of Karakoram. But this is the mother of them all. It's a natural landmark that has become a sacred site. You'll see local people here, walking clockwise around the rock, a traditional sign of respect. You'll also see kadags, which are blue ceremonial silk scarves, tied to nearby trees as a sign of respect and a prayer. For travelers, this is one of the most accessible and popular spots in the country. The park is a favorite weekend getaway for people from Ulaanbaatar, so it's well developed. You can climb up the side of the rock, scrambling into a small cave on its neck for an amazing view of the whole valley. The area is packed with tourist deer camps, from basic $15 a night setups to luxury camps with full restaurants, private bathrooms, and heated floors that can cost over $100 a night. You can go horseback riding through the forests, hike up to the beautiful Aryabal meditation temple, or visit a local nomadic family. It's a perfect, easy-to-reach taste of the Mongolian wilderness, but this gentle, beautiful park is a stark contrast to the place where half the entire country lives. We're heading into the coldest, most polluted capital city on Earth. This is Ulaanbaatar. It is a city of brutal contradictions, a place of jarring, chaotic energy. First, the most staggering fact. This is, without a doubt, the coldest capital city on the planet. In January, the average temperature is minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's not the average that gets you, it's the cold snaps. Temperatures regularly plunge to minus 30 or minus 40 degrees. To put it mildly, that's cold enough to freeze exposed skin in minutes. The air is so cold it feels sharp, like breathing in tiny needles. The entire city runs on a massive Soviet-built coal-fired heating system, and you can see the steam rising from pipes and manholes all over the city, making it look like the whole place is simmering. But the cold isn't the only story. This city is the single throbbing heart of the entire nation. Of Mongolia's 3.3 million people, over 1.5 million of them live right here. It's a chaotic, sprawling, energetic mess. In the center, you have modern glass and steel skyscrapers, including a building shaped like a giant sail. You'll find a Louis Vuitton store, high-end Korean barbecue restaurants, and funky bars like the famous Grand Khan Irish pub. But surrounding this modern core are the endless blocks of crumbling Soviet-era apartment buildings, all painted in drab, fading colors. And surrounding that is the city's biggest challenge, the Jur districts. These are vast, sprawling neighborhoods of traditional felt tents and small, makeshift wooden houses that climb the hillsides. This is where hundreds of thousands of nomadic herders have settled after losing their herds in harsh winters. These districts have no running water, no sewer systems, and most critically, no central heating. In the winter, every single one of these homes burns coal and sometimes tires or trash in a small stove for heat. The smoke from these stoves settles over the city in a thick, choking, toxic smog, making Ulaanbaatar one of the most polluted places in the world during the winter months. The air has a chemical, sooty taste, and yet the city is undeniably alive. The traffic is some of the worst you'll ever see, a constant gridlock of Land Cruisers and Priuses. There's a vibrant youth culture, with hip-hop artists and fashion designers blending traditional Mongolian motifs with modern style. There are fascinating museums like the National Museum of Mongolia, which gives you the entire sweeping history of the nation under one roof. And the Central Museum of Mongolian Dinosaurs, which holds some of the Gobi's most famous finds. Hotels are everywhere. You can find a bunk in a clean, popular hostel like the Golden Gobi for $10, or get a room in a luxury hotel like the Shangri-La for $200 a night. In the middle of this modern chaos, a powerful center of peace and spirituality remains, a place that survived the purges by a thread. It holds a golden giant, 87 feet tall, watching over the city. In the center of Ulaanbaatar's concrete sprawl and endless traffic jams, you find a different kind of energy. This is Gandan Monastery. Its full name, Gandan Tegchinlan, means the great place of complete joy. And it is the most important and largest active monastery in the country. Compared to the heartbreaking ruins of Ongi, Gandan is a stunning story of survival. During the 1937 purges, the monastery was closed and many of its monks were taken away. But what many overlooked is that the main complex itself was spared. The government, in a cynical move, supposedly kept it as a showcase of traditional culture to prove to foreign visitors that they weren't destroying history. It was a hollow gesture, but it saved the place from demolition. In 1944, it was reopened under strict government control as the only functioning monastery in all of Mongolia, more a museum than a place of worship. But after 1990, with the arrival of democracy, it exploded back to life. Today, over 100 monks live and study here, and the sound of their deep, guttural, harmonic chanting is the true spiritual heartbeat of the city. As you walk in, you'll see lines of elderly Mongolians, their faces creased with wrinkles, spinning the large cylindrical prayer wheels, sending their prayers and blessings out into the world. The air is thick with the sweet, sharp smell of burning juniper incense which billows from stone ovens. But the main event is in the main temple, a tall white building at the back of the complex. You take off your shoes, step inside into the darkness, and you have to crane your neck all the way back. You are standing at the feet of a golden statue of Avalokitesvara, the Buddha of compassion. It is 87 feet tall, reaching from the floor to the ceiling. It's so large you can barely take it all in at once. This statue is actually a replacement. The magnificent original, built in the early 1900s, was disassembled and reportedly carted off by Soviet troops in 1938, its fate unknown. This new one was built in 1996, funded by donations from all over Mongolia and the world. It's covered in gold leaf and adorned with thousands of precious stones. It's an overwhelming, breathtaking sight, a powerful symbol of the rebirth of faith in Mongolia. It's a must-see in the capital, a place of profound, tangible peace in a city that rarely, if ever, stops moving. From the spiritual center, we move to the political center, just a few blocks away. A massive bronze warlord sits in judgment over the nation's future. Every capital has a central square, but none feel quite like this. This is Sukbatar Square, the official beating heart of Ulaanbaatar and all of Mongolia, and it is massive. It's a vast, open expanse of pavement, over 300,000 square feet, so big it can feel strangely empty, even with hundreds of people in it. This is where history is made. This is where the massive parades of the Soviet era took place. This is where, in 1990, peaceful protests were held in the freezing cold, leading to the fall of communism and the birth of a new democracy. This is where the nation gathers to celebrate. For decades, it was named after Damdin Sukbatar. The red hero of the 1921 revolution that made Mongolia a communist country. His statue, showing him on horseback, arm raised in a classic revolutionary pose, still stands in the middle of the square. But the thing nobody tells you is that in 2013, the square was officially renamed Genghis Khan Square, as the country continues to embrace its imperial past over its more recent communist one. Though to be honest, everyone from taxi drivers to locals still calls it Sukbatar Square. The entire space is dominated by one building, the massive grey imposing Parliament House or Government Palace. It's a classic piece of Soviet-style architecture, but in 2006, a new, massive monument was added to its front. And front and center, sitting in a huge colonnade, is a new, enormous bronze statue of Genghis Khan himself, seated on a throne, looking out over the square with a powerful, brooding presence. He is flanked by his two greatest generals, Baorchu and Mukhali, and on the far wings are statues of Ogedai and Kublai, his son and grandson. This is the center of everything. On one side, you have the historic State Opera and Ballet Theatre. On the other, the modern glass and steel blue sky tower, a symbol of the new Mongolia. You'll see kids skateboarding, families taking photos, and politicians rushing into the palace. During the Nadam festival, this is where the opening ceremony kicks off. It's the 0 point from which all distances in Mongolia are measured. It's a place of immense scale and power, but there's another monument in the city, one that tells a very different and much more complicated story about the country's past. It's a forgotten monument on a hill, a thank you note to a former friend. On a tall hill to the south of Ulaanbaatar, a strange circular monument looks down on the entire city. This is the Zaisan Memorial. To get to it, you have to climb 300 winding steps. As you go, you're rewarded with the single best panoramic view of the capital. From the top, you can see the whole sprawl, from the concrete downtown and the massive coal-fired power plants to the Jia districts climbing the far hills, all nestled in the valley of the Toul River. It's a breathtaking, sweeping view. But the monument itself is what's truly fascinating. It's a relic, a time capsule from another era. It was built by the Soviets in 1979 as a monument to unknown soldiers and, more importantly, to celebrate the unbreakable friendship between the Soviet Union and Mongolia. The centerpiece is a giant circular mosaic mural on the inside of the ring. It's classic, over-the-top Soviet propaganda art, and it's actually beautiful in its own way. One panel shows the Soviets defeating the Japanese, who had threatened Mongolia's borders in 1939. Another shows the glorious Soviet space program, which took a Mongolian man to space. At the center is a heroic scene of Russian and Mongolian comrades, soldiers, and citizens hand in hand, celebrating their alliance, all under the gaze of Lenin. But today, that bond is gone. The Soviet Union doesn't exist. The memorial, while still a popular spot for young couples and tourists, is slowly crumbling. The paint is fading and the concrete is chipping. What many overlooked is the irony at the base of the hill. Right next to this grand monument to communism, a massive, brand new 100-foot-tall golden Buddha statue has been built. And just below that, capitalism has arrived in the form of luxury apartments, gated communities, and shopping malls. It's a perfect snapshot of Mongolia today, a nation caught between its imperial past, its communist history, and its fast-paced capitalist future, all visible from a single hilltop. Now, we leave the city. We leave the concrete and the smog and head south into the most famous and most feared landscape of all. We are going to a place that covers 1/3 of the entire country. When you hear Gobi Desert, you probably picture endless rolling sand dunes like the Sahara. Well, you're mostly wrong. The thing nobody tells you about the Gobi is that only about 5% of it is sand. The rest is a vast, mind-bending expanse of gravel plains, rocky mountains, dry, cracked earth, and surprisingly steppe-like areas with low shrubs. This place is huge. It covers 1/3 of Mongolia and stretches deep into China, and it is a land of unbelievable extremes. This isn't a hot desert like the Sahara, it's a cold desert. In the summer, temperatures on the desert floor can soar to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to fry an egg. But in the winter, it becomes a frozen, wind-blasted hellscape, dropping to a life-ending -40 degrees Fahrenheit. This is one of the most merciless environments on Earth. And yet, life is here. It's stubborn, tough, and rare. This is the last refuge for the critically endangered Gobi bear, or Mazalai. As of 2022, there were only about 51 of them left in the world. They survive by eating roots, insects, and the few berries they can find. The Gobi is also home to herds of two-humped Bactrian camels, which are perfectly adapted to the cold, wild asses called kulan. And the elusive snow leopard, which stalks the high mountain ranges that cut through the desert. For travelers, the Gobi is the ultimate adventure. You cannot do this on your own. You must hire a guide and a 4x4. You'll drive for days, sometimes not seeing another person. Staying in jur camps run by nomadic families. These families are some of the toughest, most hospitable people on Earth. They raise camels and goats in a place with almost no water. You'll drink sutetsai, salty milk tea, and maybe even try some airag made from camel milk, which is an acquired taste. You'll eat food cooked over a fire fueled by dried animal dung because there are no trees. And you'll learn what real, absolute silence sounds like. At night, the sky is so clear of light pollution that the Milky Way looks like a thick, painted cloud. It's where, in the 1920s, the explorer Roy Chapman Andrews first discovered nests of dinosaur eggs, proving for the first time that dinosaurs laid eggs. This is, quite literally, a dinosaur graveyard. This desert is a land of many wonders, and one of them you can hear before you can see it. We're heading to a mountain of sand that sings a deep, haunting song. In the deep south of the Gobi Desert lies Kongorin Els. These are the singing dunes, and they are the 5% of the Gobi you were picturing. But they are more magnificent, more grand than you can possibly imagine. This isn't just a patch of sand. It's a massive 10-mile wide, 80-mile long river of towering dunes. Trapped between two dark, rocky mountain ranges. The highest peaks, known as Dut Mankan, or Singing Dunes, rise over 640 feet from the flat desert floor. That's as tall as a 60-story skyscraper. They get their name from a bizarre, haunting, and slightly eerie phenomenon. When the wind is strong, or when a large amount of sand slides down the face of the dunes, which you can trigger by sliding down yourself, it creates a deep, vibrating, groaning sound. It's a low-frequency hum that you feel in your chest as much as you hear with your ears. It sounds like a low-flying propeller airplane or a deep cello note. Scientists say it's caused by the friction of billions of grains of sand, all of the same size, sliding over each other. But the local legend is that it's the song of a beautiful princess who was buried under the sand by a jealous rival. Standing at the base, hearing this low, raw echo across the desert is an experience that will stay with you forever. Climbing to the top is, to put it mildly, a workout. It's a brutal one-step forward, half-step back slog up the soft, steep sand. The ridge is so sharp it looks like a knife's edge. It can take over an hour and your legs will feel like jelly. But the reward is one of the greatest views on Earth. From the razor-thin ridge at the top, you can see the entire desert. On one side, the endless golden sea of sand. On the other, a narrow green oasis. A small river that flows along the base of the dunes, giving life to a thin strip of grass and, bizarrely, a small lake. You'll stay in a jur camp like the Gobi Erdene right at the foot of the dunes. The most popular activity besides climbing is camel riding. You'll ride a two-humped Bactrian camel, a slow, swaying journey along the base of the dunes as the sun sets. The best time to visit is September, when the brutal summer heat has faded and the air is clear and crisp. From this wonder of sound, we go to a wonder of sight, a place that looks like a lost city from another world. These cliffs look like a ruined temple, but they hide a secret from the bottom of the ocean. This is Tsagan Suvaga, the White Stupa. Located in the middle Gobi, this place doesn't look real. It's a series of massive sheer cliffs eroded over millions of years into fantastical, whimsical shapes. From a distance, they look like the ruins of a sprawling, ancient, multi-tiered city or a row of giant, crumbling stupas. They are layered in brilliant pastel colors: white, pink, red, and orange. The cliffs are over 130 feet high and stretch for almost a quarter of a mile. It's a geological wonder, a stunning piece of natural art. But the most astonishing part is what this place is. You are standing at the bottom of an ancient ocean. Tens of millions of years ago, this entire area was underwater. These colorful layers are the compressed sediment, sand, and mud from the ocean floor. And because of that, this is a treasure trove for fossils. As you walk along the base of the cliffs, you are literally walking on the remains of ancient sea creatures. You can find fossilized seashells, ancient snail shells, and other marine life, all preserved in the dry, chalky desert rock. For travelers, this is a photographer's dream. The best time to be here is at sunrise or sunset. When the low-angle light hits the cliffs, the colors explode. The white limestone, which gives the cliffs their stupa name, glows against the deep reds and oranges. It's a sublime alien landscape. You can hike down into the canyons and explore the strange formations, feeling like you're on Mars. Nearby Ger camps, like the Sagan Suvaga Ger camp, offer a place to stay with a direct view of the cliffs. It's a powerful, humbling reminder that this desert, now defined by its extreme dryness, was once a place of water and abundant life. From this vast, open canyon, we head to a place that's the exact opposite, a secret forest of stone. It's a maze of granite pillars hiding the ruins of a lost temple. In the middle of the flat, sweeping Gobi steppe, just grassland as far as the eye can see, the ground suddenly erupts. This is Baga Gazrian Chulu, or Small Lands Stones. It's a natural fortress, a 25-square-mile area of jumbled, piled and stacked granite boulders and towering rock formations. It's a stone forest, creating a maze of narrow canyons, hidden valleys and secret caves. This bizarre landscape rises over 5,600 feet, a high-altitude granite island in a sea of grass. This place has been a refuge for centuries. Herders would hide their livestock here during blizzards. Outlaws and horse thieves would use it as a hideout, but it was also a place of spiritual power. Tucked away in a narrow protected gorge, hidden from the wind, are the ruins of a 17th century monastery. You can see the crumbling stone walls of a small temple built right up against the granite cliffs. Monks came here to meditate in total isolation, protected from the world by the labyrinth of stone. There's even a small cave where a famous monk is said to have lived, with a pool of clear water that locals say can heal eye ailments. You have to squeeze through a narrow crack in the rock to find it. For visitors, this is an exploration paradise. You can spend a day scrambling over the rocks, squeezing through tight passages, and discovering the monastery ruins. The rocks themselves are beautiful, covered in bright green and orange lichen, which look electric against the grey stone. It's also a great place to see wildlife like the ibex, a wild mountain goat, and the argali, a wild sheep, leaping effortlessly from cliff to cliff. Several Jur camps are located near the entrance, making it an easy place to spend the night. It's a surreal, almost magical landscape that feels completely different from the rest of the Gobi. But the Gobi's strangest trick is still to come. A place where fire and ice meet in a way that shouldn't be possible. We're going to a canyon in the desert that is filled with solid ice, in the middle of summer. This is Yolin Am, or Vulture's Mouth Valley. It's a deep, narrow gorge in the Gobi Mountains, and it holds a secret that defies all logic. This is the Gobi Desert. In the summer, the temperatures in this region can easily hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll be sweating as you drive to the entrance, but as you walk deeper into this canyon, the air gets cold. The high, rocky walls get so close together that they block the sun, leaving the bottom in permanent shadow. And then you see it. A field of solid, thick ice. A glacier in the middle of the burning hot desert. How is this possible? The valley is so deep and so narrow that the sun's rays never reach the bottom. The stream that flows through it freezes solid every winter, creating a massive ice field. The shade is so complete that the ice simply doesn't melt. At least it didn't used to. In its prime, the ice field would be several miles long and many feet thick. You could walk on it in the middle of July. What many overlook is that due to global climate change, the year-round ice is shrinking. In recent years, it often melts by late August or September, but even when the ice is gone, the canyon remains shockingly, refreshingly cold. The vulture's mouth name comes from the lammergeier, a giant vulture that nests on the high cliffs. You'll see them soaring overhead, their 10-foot wingspans casting shadows on the canyon floor. These birds are famous for dropping bones from a great height to crack them open on the rocks. The area is also a haven for ibex and argali sheep, which you can often spot on the high ridges. The journey there is part of the fun. You drive to a parking lot and then hike for about a mile into the gorge. Or you can hire a horse from a local guide for a few dollars to ride into the canyon. The sound of the horse's hooves echoing off the narrow stone walls. It's a true microclimate, a natural miracle. But this isn't the only Gobi location famous for its color. We're going to a place that looks like it's on fire. These cliffs are the color of blood, and they're where history was rewritten. This is Bayanzag, but the world knows it by the name given to it in the 1920s by the American explorer and real-life inspiration for Indiana Jones, Roy Chapman Andrews. He called them the Flaming Cliffs. and they are spectacular. It's not a huge canyon, but a series of dramatic fiery red sandstone cliffs that rise out of the flat desert floor. They are made of the soft, crumbly rock of the Gedokta Formation. For most of the day, they are impressive. But at sunset, they come alive. The setting sun hits the red rock, and the whole landscape looks like it's been set on fire. The color is so intense, so vibrant, it looks completely unreal. But the beauty of this place is only half the story. To put it mildly, this is one of the most important paleontological sites on Earth. In 1923, Roy Chapman Andrews was here leading a massive expedition looking for the bones of early humans. He didn't find any. He found something way better. He found the very first scientifically recognized dinosaur eggs. Before this, no one was sure if dinosaurs laid eggs like reptiles or gave birth to live young. Bayanzag solved the mystery. He found a nest of what he thought were Protoceratops eggs. Years later, it was discovered they were actually the eggs of an oviraptor that had been raiding the nest. His team also found the fossils of a velociraptor locked in combat with a Protoceratops, one of the most famous fossils ever discovered. They found new species, countless skeletons, and put the Gobi Desert on the map as a mecca for dinosaur hunters. Today you can walk through the same cliffs where he made his world-changing discoveries. There are no fences, no restricted areas. You can scramble up the soft, crumbly rock and explore the gullies. You have to be careful not to damage anything, but the feeling of walking through this dinosaur graveyard is incredible. You can see small, white fragments of fossilized bone just lying on the ground. You'll stay in a Jur camp with a perfect view of the cliffs, watching them ignite as the sun goes down. From the Gobi, we fly west to a land of jagged peaks, ancient traditions, and the roof of Mongolia. We're going to the Altai Mountains, where 4 nations collide. This is the Altai Mountain Range, Mongolia's Wild West. This isn't the rolling steppe. This is a raw, rugged, and remote world of sharp, snow-capped peaks, vast glaciers, and deep turquoise-colored lakes. The Altai are an enormous mountain system that forms the junction of 4 countries: Mongolia, China, Russia, and Kazakhstan. This is one of the most remote and untouched wilderness areas left on the planet. The Altai Tavan Bogd National Park, a protected area of over 2,400 square miles, is the heart of this region. This is a land of superlatives. It's home to the elusive snow leopard, one of the most endangered and beautiful big cats in the world. Its thick, smoky grey coat allows it to vanish into the rocky cliffs. This is also where you'll find massive herds of Argali sheep, which have the largest horns of any sheep in the world, and ibex that seem to defy gravity on the cliffs. This is not a place for a casual tourist. This is high-altitude adventure. Getting here requires a domestic flight from Ulaanbaatar to the town of Olgi. the capital of the Bayan-Olgi province, followed by a long, punishing multi-day drive in a 4x4 Jeep. But the reward is a landscape that will fundamentally change you. You'll see crystal-clear rivers, vast valleys filled with ancient burial mounds called kirigsurs, and nomadic families who are not Khalq Mongols, but mostly Kazakhs and Tuvans, distinct ethnic groups with their own languages and traditions. This area is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, not just for its nature, but for its culture. The petroglyphic complexes of the Mongolian Altai contain thousands of rock carvings, some dating back 12,000 years. This is a land of giants, and in this land of giants, one peak stands above them all. It's the highest point in the nation, a frozen throne draped in glaciers. This is Khoitan Peak. Its name literally means cold peak, and it is the highest point in all of Mongolia. Standing at 14,350 feet, it's the crown jewel of the Tavanbogd Massif, which means the Five Saints. A group of 5 sacred glacier-draped peaks that form the border. Khoitan Peak is so high that from its summit you can look down on the borders of China and Russia, all meeting in one incredible frozen panorama. Climbing this peak is not a hike. It is a serious, demanding mountaineering expedition. You can't just show up and do it. A typical guided trip takes around 10 days. It starts with a multi-day trek using camels to carry gear to the 3,000-meter, 9,800-foot base camp. From there, you have to acclimatize to the thin air, often by climbing a smaller nearby peak, like Malchin Peak, at 13,287 feet. Malchin itself is a long, difficult scramble, but it doesn't require technical gear. The final ascent of Khoitan, however, is the real deal. It requires roping up with a team, putting on crampons, metal spikes for your boots, and carrying ice axes. You have to cross the massive Patanin Glacier, the longest glacier in Mongolia, carefully navigating around crevasses, which are deep, hidden, and potentially lethal cracks in the ice. The climb is grueling, starting before dawn, and is a high-altitude, physically demanding slog. But the reward is the world. Standing on that summit, on the roof of Mongolia, with nothing but ice, rock, and sky around you, is an achievement few people will ever experience. But you don't have to be an elite climber to see the history of the Altai. The story of this land is written on the rocks, for anyone to see. It's a 12,000-year-old art gallery, carved into the stone. Scattered across the Altai Mountains, particularly in the valleys near Tavanbogd, are more than 10,000 ancient rock carvings, or petroglyphs. This is one of the largest and best preserved collections of Stone and Bronze Age art in the world. It's a vast open-air art gallery that tells the story of humanity in this region over a period of 12,000 years. This is a UNESCO World Sito, and when you see it, you understand why. These aren't crude stick figures. They are vivid, detailed images chipped into the dark, rust-colored rock of the mountainsides. The earliest images from the Paleolithic era around 11,000 years ago show a different world. The carvers etched massive mammoths, woolly rhinos, and giant deer. It was a time when this valley was a lush, forested habitat for huge animals. As you walk through the valleys, you can literally see the art change over time, like chapters in a book. The later Bronze Age carvings from around 3,000 years ago show the dawn of nomadism. You see images of hunters with bows, herds of ibex, and the first pictures of people on horseback herding their animals. You can even see scenes of ritual with shaman-like figures, arms outstretched, dancing. What's so incredible is the accessibility. These aren't roped off in a museum. You are there. You're hiking through a remote valley and your guide will just point to a boulder. And you'll see it, a 10,000-year-old carving of a mammoth, just sitting there open to the wind and snow. It's a direct physical and deeply humbling connection to the people who lived in this exact spot, thousands and thousands of years before any empire. And this region is still home to one of the most unique cultural traditions on Earth. A partnership between man and beast that looks like something from a fantasy novel. They are the last people on Earth who hunt with golden eagles. In the high valleys of the Bayan-Olgi province in the far west live the nomadic Kazakh people. And they practice a tradition that is at least 1,000 years old. They hunt with golden eagles. These are not small birds. A female golden eagle, which is preferred for hunting because she is larger and more aggressive, can have a wingspan of over 7 feet and weigh up to 15 pounds. The hunters, known as burkitshi, do not raise these birds from chicks. They capture them from a nest when they are young, a dangerous and difficult task that involves climbing down sheer cliffs. They then train the eagle, forming a deep personal one-on-one bond with it that lasts for years. This is a true partnership. The hunter, on his horse, dressed in a thick fur coat and fox fur hat, will ride to the top of a mountain ridge. The eagle, perched on his heavily gloved arm, will scan the valley below with eyes 8 times sharper than a human's. When it spots a fox, a rabbit, or even a small wolf, the hunter releases it. The eagle dives, a feathered missile reaching speeds of over 150 miles per hour to make the catch. The hunter then shares the prize with his bird. This tradition is almost exclusively passed down from father to son. But recently it gained worldwide fame from the 2016 documentary The Eagle Huntress, which told the story of Aish Holpan, a 13-year-old girl who trained to become the first ever female eagle huntress in her family. The best time to see this tradition is in early October at the Golden Eagle Festival, held just outside the town of Olgi. Dozens of hunters gather to show off their skills, their traditional fur coats, and their magnificent birds. They compete in events like calling their eagle to their arm from the top of a cliff, testing the strength of their bond. It's a spectacular, powerful, and very real tradition. After about 10 years of partnership, the hunters do something amazing. They hold a ceremony and release their beloved eagle back into the wild, so it can breed and live out the rest of its life. From the rugged, dry west, we now fly to the far north to a place that looks more like Siberia than Mongolia. It's a sea of crystal clear water so pure you can drink it straight from the lake. This is Lake Kovskol, and it is a giant. This is the largest freshwater lake in Mongolia, holding a staggering 70% of the entire country's freshwater. To put that in perspective, this one lake holds about 0.4% of all the fresh water on the entire planet. It's an ancient lake formed millions of years ago, and it's incredibly deep, over 860 feet. The water is so pure, so pristine, and so clear that you can see down for dozens of feet. Locals call it the dark blue pearl, and it's so vast they often just call it the ocean. It's part of a national park, and the landscape is a total shock after the Gobi. This is not desert. This is a Siberian-like world of thick pine forests called the taiga, lush green meadows full of wildflowers and herds of yaks and reindeer. The lake is geologically connected by underground rivers to its older sister, Lake Baikal in Russia, which is just over the border. For travelers, this is a paradise. You can stay in gyr camps right on the shoreline, waking up to the sound of lapping water. You can go hiking in the forests, go horseback riding along the shore, or take a boat trip. There's even an old Russian ship called the Sukh-Batar, built in 1910, that still takes visitors on tours. In the winter, the lake becomes a different kind of marvel. It freezes solid, with ice over 3 feet thick. It becomes a major highway, and locals drive their trucks, jeeps, and horse-drawn sleds right across it, creating shortcuts that are impossible in the summer. It's also home to a spectacular ice festival with massive ice sculptures, ice skating, and horse sled races. It's a place of pristine, almost unbelievable natural beauty. And in the deep, remote forests surrounding this lake, a small group of people lives a life that seems to come from a storybook. They are the last reindeer herders of Mongolia, and they live in teepees. Hidden in the deep, remote taiga forests north of Lake Kovskol, in an area you can only reach after days of travel by jeep and then on horseback, lives one of the smallest and most unique ethnic groups on Earth, the Duka, or Tsartan people. There are only about 40 to 80 families left, maybe 400 people in total, and their entire way of life, their entire culture revolves around one animal, the reindeer. They are true nomadic reindeer herders. They don't live in gurs like the rest of Mongolia. They live in teepees, or yurts, which are conical tents made of poles and canvas, similar to those of Native Americans because they are easier to move through the forest. Their bond with the reindeer is everything. They drink the reindeer's rich, fatty milk, they make cheese from it, and they use the animals for transportation, riding them through the dense, mossy forests. What many overlook is that they almost never eat their reindeer. The animals are too valuable to them, like members of the family. They hunt wild game for meat. They move their camps 5 to 10 times a year, a difficult slow migration in search of the special moss their reindeer need to eat. Their culture is also unique. Their main belief system is shamanism, a profound connection to the spirits of the forest, the water, and the sky. Some of the most powerful and respected shamans in Mongolia are said to be among the Duka. Visiting them is a serious undertaking. It's a long, multi-day journey on horseback from the nearest town deep into the forest. But for those who make it, it's a life-changing experience. You'll be welcomed into their teepee, share a bowl of hot, salty reindeer milk tea, and see a way of life that is completely dependent on nature and this one gentle, graceful animal. It's a fragile existence, and they are struggling to maintain it as the modern world and tourism begins to find them. Their base of operations, the small town on the edge of the lake, is an outpost against this vast wilderness. It's a frontier town where the world freezes for 6 months of the year. This is Khatgal. It is a small, quiet town that sits at the southernmost tip of Lake Kovskol. For most of the year, it's a sleepy outpost, a collection of colorful wooden houses and jurs that serves as the main entry point for travelers coming to see the lake. It has a small airport, a few guest houses, and a handful of shops selling basic supplies. The smell of wood smoke is always in the air, but this town's entire personality is forged by the cold. For 6 months of the year, this place is locked in a deep Siberian freeze. Temperatures drop to -30 or -40 degrees Fahrenheit and stay there. The lake becomes a solid 3-foot thick sheet of blue-green ice. What was once a barrier becomes a road. The ice is so strong that it becomes the main highway. Trucks, cars, and horse-drawn sleds, called tereg, zip across the frozen surface, creating shortcuts to villages on the other side that would take hours to reach in the summer. The town has become famous for its winter tourism. People come from all over the world to experience the deep freeze. They go ice driving, take horse cart rides on the lake, and visit nearby hot springs that steam in the frozen air. It's a place of incredible toughness. The people who live here are resilient, forged by the extreme cold. Staying here in the winter is an adventure. You'll huddle around a pot-bellied stove in your jur, the air so cold it feels sharp. But when you step outside at night, the silence of the frozen lake under a sky full of stars so bright they look like diamonds is absolute. It's a true frontier town, the last stop before the vast blue wilderness of the lake and the deep, dark forests of the taiga. But not all of Mongolia's towns are for adventure. Some are a matter of life and death. This next town is a refuge, a safe haven from the deadliest killer in Mongolia. This isn't a single place, but a terrifying recurring event. It's called the Zood, and it is the great recurring nightmare of Mongolia. A Zood is a severe winter disaster, a white apocalypse that is unique to this part of the world. It's not just a cold winter, it's a perfect storm of disasters, and it's happening more frequently due to climate change. It often starts with a summer drought, meaning the animals can't fatten up for the winter. Then, the winter brings exceptionally deep snow, a white zood, which buries the grass, making it impossible for livestock to find food. Or even worse, it brings a light melt followed by a deep freeze, coating the entire steppe in a thick, impenetrable layer of ice, an iron zood, making grazing impossible. When a zood hits, the effect is catastrophic. Livestock perish by the millions. Herders who have spent their entire lives building a herd of horses, goats, and sheep can be completely wiped out in a single winter. The zood of 2009 to 2010 was one of the worst, eliminating over 8 million animals, a massive percentage of the country's entire livestock population. To put it mildly, this is the #1 economic and social disaster in Mongolia. It is what drives the mass migration of desperate, bankrupted herders to the Gyur districts of Ulaanbaatar. This is where towns like Arvaikir come in. It's a central provincial capital, the main town in the Overkhangai province. It's not a tourist hotspot, it's a vital link. It's a transitional town, a refuge for herders who have lost everything. It's a place where they try to adapt to a new life, halfway between their ancient nomadic ways and the modern urban world. It's a stark, dusty reminder that in this empty empire, life is a constant high-stakes battle against an environment that is both beautiful and absolutely merciless. But in the summer, this land of hardship explodes with life in the nation's biggest, most joyful, and most intense celebration. It's the Manly Games, a nationwide party of wrestling, horses and arrows. Every July, the entire nation of Mongolia stops to celebrate Nadam. This is their national holiday, their Olympics and their Mardi Gras all rolled into one. It is a spectacular festival of the three manly games: wrestling, horse racing and archery, and it is like nothing you have ever seen. The biggest celebration is in the capital, Ulaanbaatar, in the main stadium, but every town and village has its own smaller, more intimate Nadam. First, the wrestling. This is Mongolian traditional wrestling, and the rules are simple. There are no weight classes and no time limits. The first man to make any part of his body other than his hands or feet touch the ground loses. "512, or sometimes 1,024 wrestlers, huge men in tiny embroidered vests called zodog, which are open in the front, legend says, to prove they are men and not women, and shorts called shudag, compete in a single elimination tournament. A single match can last for minutes or for hours. When a wrestler wins, he performs the eagle dance, a slow, graceful flapping of his arms, and is given a title. The winner of the whole thing is called the Arslan, or lion. Second, the horse racing. This is the ultimate test of endurance, and it's the heart of the festival. These aren't short 2-minute races on an oval track. This is cross-country with races up to 18 miles long, run across the open, uneven steppe. And the jockeys? They are children, some as young as 5 years old, chosen for their light weight. It's a wild, chaotic and dangerous race with hundreds of horses kicking up a massive cloud of dust. What's crazy is that the real star is the horse. The winning horse is celebrated and songs are sung to it. There's even a special prize for the horse that comes in last in the 2-year-old race. It's called the Bayan Kodud. Or full stomach, and it's a way of saying better luck next time. Third, archery. Men and women compete, wearing their beautiful, colorful traditional robes or deals. They don't shoot at a simple circular target, they shoot at a wall of small woven cylinders called surs, which are stacked on the ground. The men shoot from a distance of 75 meters, about 246 feet, and the women from 65 meters. When they hit a target, the judge yells a word of praise, Ukai! Nadam is an explosion of color, sound, and energy. A celebration of the skills that allowed the Mongols to survive and conquer the steppe. But there is another competition, a modern one. That is even more extreme. It's the longest, toughest horse race in the entire world. If Nadam is a celebration of tradition, the Mongol Derby is a test of pure, unadulterated endurance. This is officially the longest and toughest horse race in the world. It's a 1,000-kilometer, 620-mile endurance race across the most remote, unmarked, and wild parts of the Mongolian steppe. And it's not just a race, it's a recreation. It traces the path of Genghis Khan's ancient Moru, or horse messenger postal system, which he set up in 1224. This was the world's first long-distance postal service, a Pony Express on an imperial scale. Here's how it works. Dozens of riders from all over the world, adventurers, professional equestrians, and total amateurs, pay a massive entry fee of over $14,000 to compete. They have to ride the entire 620 miles in 10 days or less. But here's the catch. They don't have one horse, they have 25. The race is broken into 40-kilometer, 25-mile legs with a horse station, or utu, at the end of each one. Riders gallop into a station, jump off their horse, and have to pick their next mount from a semi-random lineup of tough, feisty, semi-wild Mongolian horses that they have never seen before. To put it mildly, this is dangerous. The riders are on their own. They navigate with a GPS, facing relentless heat, sudden violent storms, dehydration, exhaustion, and the very high chance of being thrown from a horse that doesn't want to be ridden. At night, they can either camp out under the stars or stay with the local nomadic families who run the horse stations. Vets check the horses at every stop, and any rider who pushes their horse too hard gets a strict time penalty. It is a brutal, exhausting, and life-changing test of horsemanship, luck, and sheer survival. From this ultimate test of endurance, we end on a place of pure ancient mystery. It's a single, giant rock covered in the signatures of history. In the middle of a wide, flat, grassy valley in central Mongolia, a single massive rock juts out of the earth. This is Taikar Chulu. It's a 25-foot-tall, solitary granite monolith. It looks like it was dropped from the sky. It doesn't match any of the geology around it. And for thousands of years, this rock has been a silent witness. It's a natural landmark that has become a sacred object, a canvas for history itself. Local legend says the rock is actually a giant boulder that a mythical hero, Bokbilit, threw to pin down a giant serpent that was living underground and terrorizing the land. But the real story is written on its surface. The rock is covered from top to bottom in inscriptions, symbols, and graffiti from almost every era of human history in Mongolia. You'll find ancient Turkic runic scripts, similar to the ones in the Orkhon Valley. There are traditional Mongolian scripts, Tibetan Buddhist prayers, and even signatures from travelers and herders from the last few centuries. It's a guest book for the steppe. Everyone who passed this way, from ancient shamans to Mongol lords to modern-day herders, felt the need to leave their mark on this strange, powerful stone. You'll see ovus, sacred shamanic piles of stones, at its base, where people leave offerings of blue scarves, milk, or vodka. Standing in front of it, you can trace the flow of empires and religions just by looking at the different kinds of writing. It's a place of quiet, ancient power, a final, fitting mystery in a land full of them. From the steel giant of Genghis Khan to this silent, story-filled stone, Mongolia remains the empty empire, a land that holds its secrets close, waiting for those willing to look. Mongolia is a land of impossible scale, of brutal extremes, and of a beauty so vast it redefines your sense of space. It's an empire of emptiness, full of astonishing wonders. Did you like the video? Subscribe and hit the like button. And here's a final question. Is it right for the modern world to visit and change the last ancient nomadic cultures, or should they be left completely alone? Let us know in the comments.